All right, so you've got your awesome products, your branding is on point, and you are ready to build an amazing Shopify store. But what about all the legal stuff? I know it can feel like a huge, overwhelming headache, but it really doesn't have to be. In this explainer, we're going to break down everything, and I mean everything, you need to know about Shopify licenses so you can run your business without a single worry.
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and get right to it. The one big question every single new Shopify seller asks is, do I really need a business license? You'd think the answer would be a simple yes or no, right? But it's a little more complicated than that.
And here's the twist. The short answer is no. Shopify itself, the platform, isn't going to ask you for a business license when you sign up. But, and this is a big but, if you're serious about building a real, long-term business, then the real answer is a definite, resounding yes. Let's dive into exactly why that is.
Before we can even start talking about specific licenses and permits, we have to take a step back and answer a more fundamental question. Are you running a business, or are you just pursuing a hobby? Seriously, how you answer this one question determines all of your legal and tax responsibilities, so it is an absolutely crucial first step.
Luckily, you don't have to guess. The IRS actually gives us a really simple 4-point checklist that can help you figure out exactly where you stand. So let's go through it together, right now.
First up, are you trying to make a profit? I mean, is your main goal to earn an income from your store, and not just to have a bit of fun? If the answer is yes, that's a huge sign you're running a business. Hobbies, on the other hand, are really just for enjoyment.
Second thing to ask yourself, are you working on your store regularly? Now, this doesn't mean you have to be working full-time, not at all. But it does mean you're consistently putting in the effort. You're finding products, marketing your store, shipping out orders. It's all about that consistency, not just dabbling every now and then. Third on the list, are you keeping good records? This sounds way more intimidating than it actually is. It can be as simple as tracking your income and your expenses in a spreadsheet, or maybe opening a separate bank account just for your store. These little steps show that you're treating this venture like a real business.
And finally, are you putting in the effort to become an expert in your niche? This means you're really researching your products, you're trying to understand your customers, and you're learning everything you can about your market. It shows you're taking your store seriously and trying to be the best.
So, how'd you do? If you found yourself checking off 2 or more of those boxes, then congratulations, you're officially thinking and acting like a business owner, and that means it's time to get your venture set up the right way.
So, you've determined you're running a business. Okay, now what? Well, the next step is to understand what I call the legal triggers. These are the moments that officially mean it's time to get licensed. And just so we're crystal clear, these aren't Shopify's rules. This is the law. There are 4 key triggers, 4 main signals that tell you it's time to make your business official and get all your legal ducks in a row. Let's break them down.
The triggers you need to watch out for are your business location, your annual sales volume, the type of products you're selling, and finally, the way you get paid. Let's start with your location. It really doesn't matter where you operate, even if it's from your kitchen table. Your local city or county government will almost certainly require you to have a business license. And that 4th trigger, how you get paid, is just as critical. Payment processors need to verify that you're a legitimate business, or guess what? They could put a hold on your earnings, and nobody wants that.
Next up is sales volume. This is where a fancy-sounding term called economic nexus comes into play. But it's simple, really. If your business sells a certain amount into a state, that state says you have an economic connection there, and you have to start collecting sales tax. The magic number in most states is $100,000 in sales or 200 separate transactions per year. This one's a big deal, so make sure you're tracking your sales in each state.
The 3rd trigger is all about what you sell. If you're selling anything that's regulated, I'm talking about things like food, supplements, cosmetics, or alcohol, you're going to need special permits from agencies like the FDA on top of your regular business license. This is something you'll definitely want to research carefully.
So, you know you need to get licensed. But what does that actually mean? What papers do you need? It's usually more than just a single piece of paper. Let's take a look at the different documents you might need in your e-commerce toolkit.
This table breaks down the 4 most common ones. First, the general business license. Think of it as your local permission slip to operate. Then there's the seller's permit from your state, which lets you legally collect sales tax. You might also need a home occupation permit if you're storing inventory at your house. And a DBA, or doing business as, is what lets a sole proprietor named John Smith operate a store called Retro Gaming Supply. I know, this can seem like a lot, but I promise you, the process is actually pretty straightforward when you break it down.
So here it is, a 5-step plan to get your store fully licensed and compliant.
You ready to get started? Here's your plan. Step 1, choose a business structure. Step 2, get your free EIN from the IRS. Step 3, research your specific local requirements. Step 4, go apply for your licenses. And finally, Step 5, set up tax collection right inside your Shopify settings. See, it really is that simple.
Let's just pause on Step 2 for a second, because it's so important. An employer identification number, or EIN, is pretty much a social security number for your business. It's completely free from the IRS website, and you absolutely need one to open a business bank account, which is how you protect your personal identity and keep your finances separate.
Before we finish up, let's just quickly answer a few really common questions. This should help clear up any final doubts you might have about this whole process.
First question, do you need an LLC? Now, you can start as a sole proprietor, but an LLC is highly recommended to protect your personal assets from business debts. What about for dropshipping? Yes, absolutely. You are still the legal owner of the business. And finally, what's this all going to cost? You should probably budget anywhere from $50 to maybe $550 for all the filing fees. But here's the good news, seller's permits are usually free to get.
So I really want to leave you with this thought. Don't think of getting licensed as some bureaucratic chore you have to get through. Instead, think of it as the official launch pad for your business. It's the step that makes your dream official, and it gives you the freedom to focus on what you do best, building an absolutely amazing brand.